What's up, world? It's your boy Tyrone Morgan. I'm here with another episode of the Soul Rehab Podcast. Let's go. There's nobody with me today. It's just me and you. In the words of Tony. Sorry, 90s reference. If you know, you know. But look, today I'm kind of here on the topic of, I don't really know. There's just a couple things I want to get off my mind. As you see, I don't have my team with me today. And I want to come before you and just share some thoughts today. I just want to kind of like talk to you. And I think one of the things that I really want to talk about, first of all, let me shout out the team. Shout out to the voice of reason, Miss Francis Sutton, and the fervent servant, Miss Anisha Dawson. Thank you for putting up with my shenanigans and my foolishness over the last year. I know I can be one of them people that are sometimes very hard to get along with. I own it. And I love to push my people. And so what I've learned with pushing my people is that when I push them, it causes me to move forward also. So I love to push them. I think they put up with a lot of my foolishness. Really good team. We have grown a lot since our first podcast, and we hope to bring you a lot of things in 2023. But a couple things I want to talk about. One of them for sure is a season that I've kind of been in the last few months. Really, probably almost a year. It seems like a year anyway. But a season of not really knowing where I was going, not really understanding completely what I was supposed to be doing. And trying to hear God tell me what was next for me in this season of my life. And if you know anything about God, He does not work on our timetable, which is very hard for me because I like to know what I'm doing. I just do. But I wanted to share with you today, I've been praying for clarity for quite some time on some things, and clarity has finally really just come to me today, which is Sunday when I'm recording this, right after doing church service. I heard God just tell me, just be before you become. And really what that means, and I made a post about it, most people probably don't really know exactly what it means, but what it meant to me is that he was just telling me that, there's something in a name, and the name that we have as believers and Christians, if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, is being a child of God. And sometimes with being a child of God, we have to learn to just be a child of God. That's it. No matter what you ain't doing right, no matter how much you think you're doing wrong, how much you think you're behind, how far you think you're behind, what other people call you, just know you need to just be. That's a requirement. Just be. That's the first thing you need to know when you become a follower of Christ, a believer is what I like to use, because I think it takes faith for you to believe, and if you don't have faith, you can't become. But I think we struggle with that, especially, I'm gonna speak for myself tonight. Especially me, I struggle with that because I'm a planner. I'm strategic by nature. I'm analytical. I love to think. I love to talk about things. I love to say things that make people think. Just natural. It's just nature for me. No, it's just natural for me to do that kind of stuff. And so I like to have scenarios, things planned out, how I think it should go, the way it should go, planned out. With God, He does not meet my expectations. It does not. The way He sees things is not the way I see it. And so when I feel like I'm been stuck because I'm not moving, and really what He's been teaching me in this season is I am not what I do, especially when it comes to Him, because whether I do or I don't, I've accepted. Let me say that again. Whether I do or I don't, I've accepted. I accepted Him as my Lord and Savior. So it doesn't matter because I'm not saved by works. And I think that's a big lesson for me to learn. I've always known it, had head knowledge, had a little bit of revelation behind it, but I still think at the end of the day that I found my value in what I do. And God was trying to break that because I can't take that to the next level that he's bringing me to. So there's always things that God will shift you out of, especially when you have purpose. And guess what? If you listen to this, or even if you ain't, tell a friend that you have purpose, because God never created anything without purpose. Never. And so if you're on this earth, you have a purpose. You just have to find it. And me, I've been seeking mine probably harder in a way of thinking about it than probably what I should have. And so I think God has put me in a season of just learning to be, learning to say no to people, learning to not just find my worth in work. I love to work. It doesn't bother me. I love to do things. I love to help people. But there is a version of me that you get if I learn how to focus on God. Because clarity, if you sit still long enough and let God talk and tell you something, you will gain clarity. That if it take you a year to sit still and hear God and make sure you're hearing him clearly, that year will make up, you will make that time up probably tenfold. Having a clear direction instead of just doing stuff randomly is a whole lot faster. Let's not take a 40-year trip, a 40-day trip, and make it 40 years. Because this is what you have to do. We have to learn this. And being, we realize that we can't do none of this without God. And I think a big part of my problem, a big part of the issue that I have in dealing with my soul is that I felt like if I do stuff with people, they love me. Or it makes me feel love being able to do stuff with people. And so that's stuff that you have to get out your system. People pleasing and doing stuff for people, for the most part, I do it from a pure place. But I do think, I know because God is telling me that I find some identity in doing stuff for people. And he has to shake that off me. I have to be able to hear him louder than I hear anything else in my life. I have to be able to say no, so I'm available for the things that he has for me to do, and not just stuff that I want to do. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's something hard to hear for some of us, but we must really realize that we must learn to do that stuff. Because here's the thing. If we don't, we struggle. And when we get to places that we're supposed to be, we will always fall because we have not done the soul work. If you notice, the name of this podcast is the Soul Rehab Podcast. One of the most important things God has ever showed me is we must rehab the soul, our mind, will, and emotions. The one thing that you charge with in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, if I ain't mistaken, is renewing your mind. That's what God told us to do. He never told us to clean ourselves up. He told us to renew our mind. Renew our mind to the ways of the kingdom. And if we do that, he will do the rest. That's what we got to do. We start to change the way we think, what we think on, what we think about. And we just start doing, thinking, changing that mentality. Because our mindset is the reason why we're stuck in places that we're stuck. Trust me. There are things you think about that keep you stuck daily. Some of us think about hourly, about a minute, that keeps us where we are. So what do? How do we come out of these things? We learn to be, and just be satisfied with being a child of God. That's first and foremost. That is our foundation. Because if I can do what I need to do without God, if I can clean my, let me say that right. If I can clean myself up, then I didn't need a savior in the beginning. You have to understand that. We are led by the Spirit of God. We are not. The cleaning up part is his responsibility. He directs. He's counsel. Our is to fight and rehab the soul. Change mindsets. Bring down strongholds to keep us from thinking the way the things we always thought. We were taught some things that were not beneficial to who we need to become. And we need to unlearn that. In the voice of Miss Perkins. That's one of my favorite moments of our podcast. But we must learn that. And until we learn that, we will struggle People, listen to me. I'm trying to free somebody like God freed me today, which is Sunday again. I'm just recording the podcast. But it said he just said just be before you become. And the first two letters of become is be. Become like him. And you have to learn to be. Sit there. We have to be Mary instead of Martha. Work need to be done. And if we love God, we will do the work. But first we must understand why. If we do the work with a pure motive and pure intent, then God will do the blessing for us. And what happens with us is we do it so we can prove something to somebody, so we can prove our worthiness to God. A lot of us do a lot of stuff to prove our worthiness to God when we don't have to do that. You just have to renew your mind to the ways of the kingdom. That's it. Just be. Let me help you get free. Take this message to everybody you know. Just be. That's it. That's the message. That's all I need you to do is just be. When we learn to just be, we will become who he created us to be. Because our foundation must be firm in being and not firm in doing. Doing is not a requirement. I know that sound anti-church or whatever you want to call it, but doing is not a requirement for salvation. It's just not. And so we must learn to be with the Father. This is the important part of the being. You have intimate relationship with Christ. So it's relationship over religion. Relationship on doing what's right. And the relationship will help you become more like Christ. You can't be around somebody just like us. If you're around the wrong person or you're around people that's long enough, you'll start sounding like them, saying some of the stuff they say. You start being like them. That's why they say that you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Scary, right? Because some of us spend time with people who we really don't care to be like. I don't even know why I'm here. But anyway, if you're around somebody that you really don't want to be like, get away from them. It's just simple. And I'm rambling tonight because I'm doing a podcast on my own and I've been set free with some stuff today. And I just want to share it to the people that's around me. Not everybody, just the people that's around me and the people that's watching this podcast. So just be. Learn to just be. Get free and just be. We have to be in order to become. Ooh. We have to be in order to become. That's a message for you on tonight. As you watch this podcast, there have been several other things that we talk about, and something that we're going to talk about next week. We're going to do a podcast or two on loneliness. Loneliness is something that I think we take for granted. I think there's a lot of lonely people in this world that the sad thing about it is they are around a bunch of people and they're still lonely because we lack compassion, we lack connection, and we lack content. Connection, content, and compassion. Them 3 things we lack. We don't care about people because we don't make the connection and we don't have the content or the context. Maybe that's what I should have said. Context to make connection. We just randomly connect with people on social media, digital connection. We don't interact with each other anymore. Human interaction is needed in order to make connection. Can you connect over a phone? Yes. Can you connect better in person? Most definitely. Because when you're together, it's just something different. And we lack that in today's time. We are so busy doing everything and we don't even connect or check on each other. So we must learn to connect, have the compassion to connect, and have the context to connect. Find something that brings us together instead of tears us apart. We love cyberbullying. We love cyber pictures. We love all these things to make life seem like it's so easy and so much fun. In reality, that's not real life. You'll look at this stuff and you'll make a whole judgment on yourself that the person that you watching are going probably through worse things than you are. Don't believe the book. Facebook, that is. Don't believe Facebook. Instagram, all these things that you want to believe that you think your life will be better than, don't believe that, because anything that you have takes work to maintain. It takes work to maintain peace. Peace is not something you just get freely. And matter of fact, peace does not mean the absence of conflict. Newsflash. Peace does not mean the absence of conflict. Peace means that I have something higher, a higher power that I connect to that makes me know, even if it's not all right, it's going to be all right. That's where I gain my peace from. That's why you see me do the peace out all the time, because I feel like God has given me an inner peace, and I want to bring that inner peace out to the world outside of me. That's it. That's all I want to do. I want to show you how to gain peace by God. I have conflict. I have issues. I have things I struggle with, but it don't keep me from not having my peace, because I know somebody who can help me keep it. He gives it to me because I put my confidence in him instead of what I can do. I'm learning to just be. That's the whole point of this whole podcast. I think I'm going to name the podcast Just Be, because that's all we have to do is just be. If you are a believer, and if you're not, you should be. Try Jesus. He will help you. Will everything be perfect? Absolutely not. And anybody who told you it's perfect being a Christian told you a lie. Report them to the authorities, because they just robbed you of a life with Christ. It's not easy. It takes faith. It's not hard. It just takes faith. It takes patience. It takes integrity. It takes character. It takes trusting in a God that you have not seen. That's what it takes. And tonight with this podcast, I want you to learn to just be. It's all right. God is with you. No matter what it looks like, no matter what you're experiencing, no matter if you're dealing with loneliness in a bad way, during this time of the year, people who lost loved ones, people who maybe don't have loved ones to spend time with, not close with their families, not having any real friends that they can depend on. It can feel pretty lonely during this season. But this is what you can do. If you feel alone, you can go out and volunteer, help somebody. Make a connection there instead of sitting home feeling sorry for yourself. Don't be a victim. Become a victor. And victors do things to claim victory. And one thing you can do to claim victory is volunteer for people who are less fortunate than you are. If you're feeling depressed, get you a community of people. You're going to need it. We are created for relationship. Alone seasons are just that. They are seasons. And they are seasons that you're not really alone, but you're closer to God. That's what a good alone season look like. So if you have an emotional alone season where you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets you, nobody cares, He cares. And if you listen to Him, He'll put you around people who also care about you. The problem we have is what we see as caring may not be what the other person gives. And so that makes you have to communicate, which is something we all suck at, because all we do is text, message, and post. You can't make a physical connection with a person if you never talk to them. Start looking people in their face when you talk to them. Make a connection. When you're with friends, make a conscious effort not to pick up your phone. Make a connection, physical connection with these people. It's worth it, I promise you. In order to be, you got to have an intimate relationship with somebody, and I ain't talking about sex. Intimate, letting somebody get to know you. Learn to trust some people, even though people that you trust have let you down. Here's the thing. As long as you own God's green earth, you're going to experience somebody letting you down. And it's your choice to stay where you at. Learn to make wiser decisions on who you let in. But you're going to have to let somebody in, because we weren't created to do this alone. And so, listen, I can talk a long time about this stuff because it's something that's near and dear to my heart. Loneliness in this time of the year is some seasonal stuff that can really make people hate holidays. And look, I love holidays because I get to be around my family, my friends. We get to spend extra time together because we off a little more, and have a good time, play cards, cut up, act the food, because that's what me and my folks are going to do. But there are people who don't have that. There are really people who don't have that. So look, if you got friends who don't have family, invite them over. Friends, if you don't have family, ask to get invited. Don't seem like you're strange. Sometimes the reason why we feel lonely because we never let anybody know. So that's a you problem. Pride will keep you lonely. Let somebody help you. As a matter of fact, that should be your season's greetings. Let somebody help you. Because we don't know a lot of times. You think we do. Everybody got a lot going on. It's a whole lot easier to communicate your problems than to just let somebody, or depend on somebody assuming they understand the problem you have. Talk to somebody. If you don't have close friends, there's some inner healing you need to do. Not saying that you got 30 dear friends, but you can have one or two people that you talk to. You need one or two people that you can talk to. Maybe not about everything, but some things you got to learn to trust. And the only way you learn to trust is let people in. And you have to make decisions on the boundaries that you have to let people in. Build trust with them. See what you can tell them. See what you can't. But you're going to have to talk to somebody. I heard Tim Ross say, and I think some people took it out of context, but he said God was not enough for us here on this earth. Sounds strange, right? But you do remember that God said it was not good for man to be alone. And Adam already had him. So think about it. We were created to be relational beings. And when we're outside the context of relations, we struggle. This world is struggling because it lacks connection. You look at the people around us and what they're struggling with and what they're doing. And what they're struggling with is just simple stuff. Emotional connection. I read a story where a 10-year-old boy shot his mama because she wouldn't get him some kind of video game miss. Watching these crazy YouTube stuff the kids have. This stuff is wild. But that's what they make connections with. So they can view human life as not being real because we don't have time to emotionally connect to people. That's why you don't have compassion for the person beside you. I was going to say your neighbor like I was in church. But I get on my nerves, so I ain't saying it. But anyway. But that's part of the reason why we don't have emotional connection, because we refuse to let people in. And when you don't emotionally connect, you lose the human side of you. And this is something I do know. You are human. And that is the one thing that we need is connection. So look, for the holidays, do me this one favor before I close out with this podcast tonight. Make some connections. Learn to spend time with people without needing or wanting anything but their time. Learn to just be and quit being busy. Quit letting everything bother you. Quit being offended easy, because life is short. If the last couple of years I haven't taught you that, then you haven't been paying attention and you still fussing over minor stuff, minor problems. And look, be happy. Be happy. Listen, I've been up here way too long for one person on the podcast tonight, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Soul Rehab Podcast. And listen, buy me something for Christmas, because you still got time. And don't tell them I told you that. But you can get me. Send it to my I'll give you my address, inbox me. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. God bless you. And important, we always like to tell you peace out and be well.